You are busy scrutinizing the manifestos coming from different political party leaders ahead of the August 12, 2021 tripartite general elections. Now, the Minister of Labour and Social Security Services, MLSS, is a cabinet-level government in the Ministry of Zambia, mandated to lead in the formulation and implementation of national employment, labor and social security policy. The ministry is also responsible in monitoring national productivity, occupational safety and health. It is also act as a mediator between the employees and their employers. But in the recent past, the Minister of Labour under PS Chanda Kaziya has been described as a defunct ministry. Let's find out how true are these allegations. PS Kaziya joins me on set, live on Muvi television from Zambia's capital city, Lusaka. Remember, the program is also on our official Facebook page, Ask Muvi, and also Putunens Tunachagwa is also televising this program live. PS, allow me to welcome you on this program as we keep on the conversation regarding the happenings in Zambia. Welcome.
Wow, thank you very much. And, it's always a pleasure having to interact with your colleagues in the media fraternity, because I think yours is to educate,
sure,
inform, and entertain. And I hope today we'll do one of the two issues.
Which one are we tackling this evening?
We are tackling two issues.
Which ones?
One is to inform.
Right.
And today, and also to educate. We are not entertaining today. We are going to inform and educate.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's PS Chanda Kaziya coming from the Minister of Labour. My name is Innocent Piri. As usual, can simply call me IP. Let's begin the discourse right now. PS, I'll begin on this note. You've been accused of being a person or a man, a permanent secretary presiding over what many have described as a dead or defunct ministry. How do you feel?
You see, one of the things you can't do is to stop people having their opinion on you. And the goodness is that the large and majority of the Zambians, those that have taken keen interest in knowing how the ministry operates and made use of it, they have a different story.
Right.
What you see, and those that may be pundits in that direction, are people who don't even know the mandate of the ministry. They don't even know where the Ministry of Labour is, and they've never taken interest to understand what the Ministry of Labour is until they are fired. That's when you see them jump into the Ministry of Labour and wanting to get some form of guidance. Now, how can one describe the ministry to be defunct when I'm going to run through the things and achievements? Those are not going to be speculative.
Right.
They are facts. Number one, you remember very well that for 8 years, the minimum wage was stuck. It was under this leadership of the President Edgar Lungu, His Excellency, the President of this Republic of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Lungu, that we saw an adjustment. One, in the minimum wages for shop workers, domestic workers, and the general order. That is not all. For the first time in the history of this country, we saw a minimum wage tackling transport sector. For the first time in this country, we saw a revision of the 7 pieces of legislation which were sitting haphazardly into the employment code. We brought in Cap 268, we brought in Cap 274, we brought in Cap 276. These were merged into what is called the employment code and enhanced certain provisions that were a thorn in the past. You remember, for instance, there was no provision which was regulating foreign labor. There was no provision that was dealing with casualization before. There was no provision which mandated that if you are going to have a contract, there should be a clause in gratuity. Now, that is all. I don't know if that is an attribute of a defunct ministry. We saw, for the first time, productivity policy. done, and the implementation plan done and implemented. We have seen the push for SI to do with the stopping of child labor, hazardous work. It is under the Ministry of Labor. We have seen the revision of assessable earnings under Workmen's Compensation Fund Control Board. That is all under the Ministry of Labor, under the able leadership of His Excellency. So, in terms of labor relations, it has been put at the helm of prominence. Let me give you further statistics. 2020 alone, those that took a step to come to the Ministry of Labor and launch their complaints and intervention of the ministry, we had 25 million recovered on behalf of the employees, such that if the Ministry of Labor had not intervened, that money would have gone. We have seen that how do we support private sector in terms of remaining afloat? We saw the exemption under SI 48. Now, these are facts. So if people choose, you can choose to mislead yourself. And there's nothing we can do when people that are educated choose to mislead themselves, even in the light of facts. And that is the beauty of our country as a democracy. Right. We allow people to even mislead themselves.
Divergent views as well.
Yes, and also to share divergent views that, nothing has happened. Right. Ask them what they would want to see different, or what they would have done. For instance, the dismantling of casualization was done in certain ways. One, the issues to do with job categorization, flex time, part-time, temporary work, short-time contract, permanent and pensionable. So these are all achievements meant to start securing the labor market. And if you know that the last time that, for the last 5 years that I think we have been under the leadership of His Excellency, we have not recorded an industrial strike of this magnitude. The first one we are seeing, which has taken the country by storm around the doctors. In 5 years, the labor market has been peaceful. Even under very trying conditions, very tough conditions for all the Zambian workers. But everyone has known that the global contraction of the economy is not just the Zambian. Now you find that when people have not taken a step to go into further introspection to see how other regions are sitting, they only think the situation is so bad just here in Zambia. Go across, just across our colleagues in Zimbabwe. Check what is happening elsewhere. And then come back and say, here it is happening this way and so good, and here we are so bad. I'm telling you, we have not. It is not easy to maintain this labor market, this stability, or because we enhanced social dialogue. So that about what we have
PS at hand, the happenings.
So I just wanted to make sure that
right
to convince you to say the Ministry of Labor is not defunct.
Right.
Based on this achievement.
Basically, people are watching, and you, of course, I'm just one person. You need to convince the over 18 million Zambians that are watching right now.
And I'm happy that program. 90% of the Zambians agree with what I'm saying.
And we appreciate for your submission regarding what you have achieved and why you feel that your ministry is live and kicking.
Yes.
Let's proceed now to the happenings at UTH. You've given an example and you've given a comparison of the happenings maybe in Zimbabwe as well as back home in Zambia. And for you feel that maybe your ministry has done better comparing to other countries. Looking at what is happening at UTH right now, why are we in this situation at this point in time? Okay, does it mean that maybe somebody in your ministry went to sleep at some point?
Now, you see, Innocent, first I must correct one thing. I am not comparing Zimbabwe to Zambia.
Right.
Neither am I insinuating that there are problems in Zimbabwe. What I'm saying, take a leaf to understand what is happening everywhere else.
Right.
Because you can get me fired if I'm going to start speaking about other countries.
I get you. No,
so
I understand your point.
I'm speaking about people having to go and see what is happening, then come back with statistics and facts.
Right.
By the way, the employment code we have is one of the best in the world. And the social security system we've started in the informal sector is the first in Africa. So Africa is watching us to see how we're going to integrate the social security mechanisms for the informal sector, so that when they retire, something else happens, their livelihood is taken into consideration. That becomes a bit better by having a clear-cut understanding of the informal sector. Now, getting back to what is happening in UTH. Now, first of all, you must understand that doctors in this country, and I think globally, they're epitome of trust. They are not ordinary people that you meet in the streets like anywhere. No. Doctors are epitomes of trust.
Right.
Because of the nature of the work that they do. Their motto is God and what? Country, isn't it? So they place their lives to save lives. That is a fundamental fact.
Right.
And that is why the expectation on them is slightly higher than any other person. Now, the doctors have associations and they have trade unions within the health sector. Now, Section 4 of the Industrial and Labor Relations Act does not allow associations to take part in industrial relations matters. It doesn't. Collective. You can't use an association to represent other people in labor matters. No. The question is that, but how come they've been negotiating and stuff like that? The fact that they've not been negotiating. They have been consulted. So when they consult you, it doesn't make you legitimate to think that there is a collective agreement. In negotiation, the outcome of the first of all, before you negotiate, you have to have a recognition agreement. And then you have a collective agreement, which is registered in line with Section 65 of the Industrial Labor Relations Act. So when you are consulted, people pick your views, which they will use to negotiate or to inform policy. So that doesn't make you usurp the powers of the trade unions. That is the basic principle. So when an association you are consulted, it doesn't mean now you have legitimacy of going to organize and cause a strike. It doesn't give you that leverage. The law has not given you such powers to do that.
Are they unionized, the doctors?
It is a choice that they can make.
No, I'm asking you. In this case, in our case, are the doctors maybe at UTH unionized?
I'm not sure to that extent. Others
No, you are supposed to be sure.
No,
yes.
no, you know why I'm not.
You are supposed to be sure because if they are, I want to believe that they're supposed to use their leaders in the trade unions that are supposed to speak on their behalf. But if they are not, then there's a problem somewhere. Who should speak on their behalf?
Here is how it works.
Sure.
Because if they're not unionized, first of all, belong to a trade union is your personal choice. It is not forced.
All right.
You can either choose to belong or not to belong. Now, when you don't belong, you use the rules of the institution. That is what you use when you're unionized. And nothing stops the doctors to say, okay, we want to have a voice of our own, therefore we're going to be unionized. Now, depending on the grade, in line with, again, the Industrial Labor Relations Act, management and other things put together will either be not eligible or they'll be eligible to be unionized. When you're in management, you can't be unionized. It's a basic principle of law. So now, the choice of getting a union or belonging to a union, it is theirs at individual level. Now, the doctors have been using the terms and conditions as provided by the Ministry of Health. And they've been channeling their issues through that process. Now, being consulted by Ministry of Health, being consulted by Public Service Management Division, being consulted on other stakeholders is because of the trust and the unique position in which they are.
Right.
So they are consulted.